So what's the scoop with Russell Wilson? What's happening?
Russell Wilson is begun the very high-profile tour of potential places that he could land. It's such a unique situation, Rich, because you got a quarterback who is due $39 million to not play for the Broncos this season. It's subject to offsets. So there's no difference between Russell signing for the minimum and signing for 39 million because he gets the same amount of money. The expectation is wherever he goes, he's going to sign a minimum type deal, at least for 2024. We'll see then if they try to do something multi-year, something out into 2025. I also can't help but look at the way even the reporting so far, Rich, has gone on this because our intrepid teammate Ian Rappaport put out the initial tweet earlier today that Russell Wilson was spotted flying from Newark, and I'm paraphrasing, I don't have it in front of me, spotted flying from the Newark airport to Pittsburgh to meet with the Steelers, hanging out with fans and taking photos, which by all appearances, that's exactly what was going on. I am just struck by this fact, which is Russell Wilson, at this stage in his career, he's spent a couple of years in a lot of ways being a punchline for a lot of people in the media and for fans. He did play at a higher level last season, but it ended with Sean Payton chewing him out on the sideline and getting benched for the last couple of games and publicly accusing the Broncos of benching him over money and doing illegal things, even though the intention of what the Broncos were doing with the adjusted contract was to give a pathway where he'd still be the quarterback in 2024 while gaining some flexibility for the organization. You are going to get the full Russell Wilson show. I don't know what you're going to get in terms of on the field. Again, he did play better last season statistically. He was more efficient here, but in terms of everything being about social media, everything being a big deal, the idea that he's going to go to, let's say, the Giants and just going to be the backup, and if Daniel Jones falters, no. Russell Wilson is coming in, and it's going to be a massive storyline wherever he goes. Everything is going to be, he released, I don't know if you saw, Rich, a new clothing line last week. So if you need some Russell Wilson socks, those are available to you. This is not quarterback.
Tom. Well,
not backup quarterback.
I'm not interested in his footwear. What I'm interested in is who's going to give him the starting gig, right? And the Giants don't.
That's it.
Well, no, I know that, but the Giants have to prep for Daniel Jones not being ready week one. They might draft one because it sure sounds like everything that I was told at the combine, they have soured on him, that they do not view Daniel Jones as the future anymore. And they've got to reset. They got to reset fast as possible. And Pittsburgh, I don't think, is going to just hand Russ the job either, right? So, and wherever he goes, he's going to want to play,
like that,
right?
Places like Pittsburgh, to me, it makes sense. Listen, Russ Wilson's won a lot of football games. He's a veteran who's available on the cheap. You bring him in, you spend some time with him. I don't see a place like Pittsburgh as a fit because my understanding has been they want to give every opportunity for Kenny Pickett with a new offensive coordinator to go out and show he was worthy of the number one pick. And Russell Wilson dropping into that situation and coming in as QB2 and having to win the job doesn't seem like, again, right, a guy who is taking photos and releasing clothing lines and everything else is really apt to do. I mean, it reminds me a little of Cam Newton. When you got further into Cam Newton's career, he was never just going to come in and just be the backup. I remember Cam, mentioned something at one point that Bill Belichick said to him about how it just didn't make sense for him to be a backup within the league. And at one point, when Russell Wilson was in Seattle and the Seahawks were the only team with the fortitude at the time to bring in Colin Kaepernick for a visit, and Pete Carroll told Kaepernick in that meeting, you're a starter. Like, we don't have a starting job. You're a backup. Different circumstances with all these, but there's some of the same types of things here with Russ. Again, he's going to be highly paid, not by the team that he's actually playing for this season. The Giants are unique just in regard to, as you said, Rich, obviously Daniel Jones did not play well enough. Then he got hurt last season. They still owe him like $35 million fully guaranteed this year. Could we see another team eat that much guaranteed money to move on from somebody? It seems unlikely. At this point, the Giants drafting somebody to come in while having Daniel Jones would, on paper, make more sense. But this is the NFL in 2024, where all these things that you would have said even 10 years ago, well, that doesn't make any sense. They're not going to eat all this money. They're not going to eat all this dead cap. Teams do it every year. We see surprising things happen here. You just got to know if you're bringing in Russell Wilson, you're bringing in the whole Russell Wilson package. And if you dig into the background of how things ended in Seattle and in Denver, even at a cheap price, you might have some additional questions.
Catch the Rich Eisen Show every single day on the Roku channel, 12 to 3 Eastern, for free.